Welcome to Milan. I'm Dan. I'm not a contractor, but I did used to have a contractor's license, but I just don't like the industry. And so now I just build stuff for myself and focus on mortgage loans. And building as owner builder is also cheaper to do it. You don't need to hire subcontractors. It's kind of like owning a gun. It's one of those things you can always build your own house. You can always have a gun. So.
What do you mean you don't need to hire subcontractors?
You can do hourly employees as an owner builder.
Oh, I see what you're
Yeah, so if you have a contractor's license, you have to hire subcontractors to be legal. But you get a lot more leeway as an owner builder, so it's cheaper. So building a house is very expensive unless you know what you're doing. I was just starting off with renovation loans. They're easier to get than a construction loan. So maybe renovate a house, cosmetic, renovation loans a lot easier to get. So, okay, any questions so far? First step is, go ahead.
I was going to say, what kind of renovation loan would you, I mean, you're talking about a smaller project?
No, I'm talking about building a house from the ground up is really expensive. Hard to qualify. You got to qualify with this payment and your current payment. So it's really tough to do.
Can you break it down just generally, like what that would take for a house like this?
Well, I'm doing it with paycheck to paycheck. I got a small hard money loan. I didn't do a lot of business in 2024. So I don't think I qualify for construction loan. So did a lot with cash. Then I started running out of money. Then I got a hard money loan to do the next 3 months. So that's it. So let's talk about land. First of all, to get any sort of construction loan, all utilities have to be to the lot line. Now mine weren't. That's why I had to pay cash for the lot. And I have to bring in a sewer line, electrical, water, and what else? Sewer, electrical, and water, and gas. So, but all in, so I bought the lot for $250. I'll spend $150 on the public infrastructure. So it'll be all in for $400 grand. But I get a 1 acre lot with no HOA with an amazing strip view. So it was worth it. So it's worth it to invest. If you have the money to develop it yourself, it's kind of worth it. So, this is just my outline. I'm going to email you guys all a copy so you don't have to take notes or anything or listen too hard. When you get a lot, it's really important to do a soils test and do a drainage study. A lot of people buy lots and then they get screwed because they really can't develop it. So it's super important to get that done. So drainage study, soils report, call the city, make sure it's buildable. There's no easements running through it. Here, come on, let me show you something. So I called the city and they said there's a river running through it, like the movie. And there is. So, yeah, a little wash. So they said all the drainage comes here. So 2 or 3 times a year you get serious rain and this thing fills up 6 inches of water, it runs out and about and out though. But I was fine with this, I don't care. I have my building pad, it's not gonna affect me at all. I'm putting the pool down there on that knoll. Actually, we're building what's called a swim pond, not a pool. So it's all natural filtration. We're gonna have fish and turtles and frogs and we can swim with them. So you're swimming with all the critters. So it's a pond and a swimming pool. You like that, don't you, Keith?
Exactly.
Yeah. So we're doing that down there. Cheaper to do than a pool. But I think it'd be pretty cool to swim with the animals and swim by the turtles and stuff. So then you do a bog filter where you filter up through a 10-foot section of rock. The water comes up, filters out, then flows back in the pool. So it's all natural, just like the wetlands.
Did you build this pad?
The pad was already here. We had to build it up a little bit and compact it. But yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, it looks like sloped that way.
Yeah, you always want to slope away from the house a little bit for drainage. And also, since we're out here, when you do the dirt, you bring it up so it's 4 inches under the weep screed. This is basically the termination point for the stucco. And there's holes in it, so water runs down and runs out. So dirt has to be no more than 4 inches below that, so in case it floods, you don't want to get water in the house. So we're going to bring in all the dirt you see, they're bringing free because they're building a pool at Lake Las Vegas. So they bring it free and they don't have to pay for dumping, so it's kind of cool. So we're going to grade it all out that way. What's that? No, we're going to leave it natural. We're going to have 10 desert tortoises, a natural desert tortoise habitat. And the pond up there is going to be filled with water turtles and fish and frogs. And
how are you going to get down there? You're going to build a little ramp?
Oh, this is better. We're building a rope bridge like you see in the jungle. So it's going to go from here down to there, 50 feet. So you're going to cross the bridge like you're in a jungle.
Oh, wow. Zip line.
I thought of it. That'd be cool, right? That'd be cool all the way down there. Yeah, I think
the
so.
property line ends right where they're...
It ends at all that rock line, see the telephone pole? At the start of the road, but they're no longer going to build a road there. So they said I can have the land back for free. But if I do that, then I pay taxes on more land. So I don't know if I want it back. We'll see. No, probably not. But I got to spend $3,000 for a survey and go to the planning commission. So maybe later. But for now, that'll be the tortoises and 2 chicken coops, a rescue barn for rescue animals. You know, my girlfriend wants a dancing goat. So. Any questions about land acquisition or anything? Utilities to the lot's important. All the tests to make sure it's buildable before you buy it. Do a long contingency on or a long escrow for sure on any land purchase so you don't get screwed.
How does the I guess I assume it's a percolation test of some type.
Well,
or what are they looking at?
they drilled, first of all, they do a drainage study. You have to pay for that, like $3,000. Like they did here, to make sure the water's not going to flow over your house. And when they did this study, they determined that the water flows its natural course. And if I build up here, I don't got to really do anything. Just let the water run naturally, which is the best way. You don't have to divert it.
If you decided to build there, you'd probably have to.
Utilize that space, what would you need to do that?
I would need to divert the water some other place or do underground piping, but I want to leave this for tortoises. We're going to plant wildflowers in all of there. So 2 or 3 times a year, we'll get a super bloom like Death Valley. So just about like 25 pounds of wild seeds. So we'll dump them in the gully and they'll bloom as we go. So that's it. Any questions about the outside?
You said long escrow. What did you say?
Well, 45 days at least, because you really have to do a lot of research, got to get testing. For instance, if you dug into the lot and found caliche rock, it might take you another 50 grand to move it, to build, to knock it out, to build. So that's why you do 3 or 4 core samples, make sure the lot's buildable, there's no crazy stuff, or the sand isn't too soft, where you really can't build without going. Yeah, so that's it. So you really got to do your, you have to spend some money, but otherwise you get screwed and you have a lot that's not buildable, then you're really screwed. So it's better to spend a few thousand ahead of the game. And
But 45 days is a general.
yeah,
60
yeah.
would be great.
I did 60 on this one.
Yeah.
Did a lot of testing and stuff, but yeah, but definitely buying land is tough. There are a lot of shady characters selling land, even more than selling real estate.
Isn't that how we became an association? Because of all the changes?
I don't know. I'm glad there's no HOA here. It's pretty cool. Site stability, since I'm talking on that. When you do start building, first thing you do is underground plumbing. So after you put the dirt back, the most important thing about building a house probably is the compaction. You got to compact past 95% with a roller or a hand compactor, because if you don't have stability and really hard compaction, the house is going to settle, things are going to crack, and you'll have a cracky foundation. Cracky, is that a word? Cracky? I don't know. Cracky foundation. So compaction is super important. All mine are always to like 97%. You got to soak it and everything. So, and then you compact it, soak it, roll over it again. Last thing about land and building is insurance. Super important to have 3 insurances: liability, course of construction, and workers' comp. If you go skip on any of those and something happens, you're totally screwed. And when you get construction insurance, you always got to have a 6-foot fence around the whole property, otherwise they don't cover you. And that's buried in the details of the policy. So just something to keep in mind if you're building a house. Plans. Obviously you need plans. Very important. There's 4 sets of plans. There's civil, that covers the dirt work. Architectural is the actual building design, how it looks, the features. Structural, so it doesn't fall down on your head. And mechanical, electrical, plumbing. So the plan set for this house, for all 4 plan sets, was about 35 grand. So it's not just 1 set, it's 4. So got a budget for that. But they're all 4 important. So I was mentioning that I usually hire hourly employees. I don't hire subs because I don't want them sucking away my profit. So when you do the foundation, that's the only time I really hire a contractor. Because if you screw up the foundation, you're trash. You know, anything else, people make little mistakes. you can fix them.
But below ground,
Do it wrong, you're done. So I just call a real good foundation contractor. These are called control joints. And what they do, if the foundation should shift or crack, usually the crack will end up in the saw cut. So the actual floor stays good. And we're doing a stained floor down here. I always leave my floors natural because all the dogs we have and critters. So we just stain them and clear cut them and call it good. Upstairs we'll do like a click together LVT, but here definitely leave it the way it is. And also when you stain them, they kind of look like big tiles if you use your imagination, like, you know, big pieces of granite or something. So, any questions about the foundation? Always use a contract. Don't try to do that yourself with Craigslist, guys.
What are these circles?
Those are for, put the couch here, it's power going up. When I put my couch up, I'm gonna put these things called a butt kicker. Anybody know what a butt kicker is? It makes the couch vibrate. So when you have surround sound in airplanes, it just vibrates. So it's like a movie theater. Kind of like,
What did it cost you for the
foundation
foundation?
was 45,000, yep. But it was very money well spent.
What's the size of that?
I think the bottom floor is about 2,100 plus the garage is 900, like 3,000 square feet. The whole house is 4,100 square feet. Yep. Any questions? Foundation. Just so you know, the minimum is 4 inches for a foundation, a slab, but I always go another inch, 5 inches. Just gives you more girth, and it's very cheap. Once they do the forming, another $2,000-3,000 to get an extra inch, and then rebar through the whole thing, of course.
Do you know what PSI you use?
4,500 psi. Yep.
good.
Yep. I mentioned control joints. Okay. Downstairs. Let's see. So you can build the roof with either trusses, which are manufactured, or you can do the old way where the framers actually put boards up and build them. This is much more efficient, much more structurally sound, and just a quicker way to go. Trusses for this job were, I think, 24,000 for trusses for everything. But it would have taken me weeks to have guys up on the roof, you know, framing it the old-fashioned way.
And it wouldn't have been as good.
It would not have been as good, no. It's manufactured at a plant, so it's always machine made and stuff, so it's way better.
What's the size of the house, Dan?
4,100, just on the under roof, yeah.
What are those metal things up there?
Oh, they just tie the boards together. They tie the trusses together.
Make
Yeah,
it stronger?
yeah, just stronger, yeah. Just plates. They squish those together with a big machine, and then they make everything stronger.
Orange fire sprinkler.
Orange is fire sprinklers, yeah. Yep. The plastic is a water line, so you can either do copper or you do PEX. There's advantages to both. PEX is cheaper and easier to install, and it's just what most people do. Copper can break or can corrode. If the house flexes, the copper could actually break. Did you have experience with that just recently, Tom?
Yeah, we had a lot of copper for our plumbing, and we got into behind the shower, and they had actually used some clips in there that were only a temporary measure. So I started exploring a little bit more. A lot of copper, and it was beginning to rust. And I thought, you know what, this is ridiculous. We replaced it with the PEX, and it was costly, but I feel like I feel a little more confident about my home that we're not going to have any flooding in the near future. So for my house, it was 2,700 square feet, and it cost us $18,000, including repairing the drywall.
And also less. What's that?
Homeowners insurance don't care if it's copper.
I don't think they care, no. But remember, with copper, you can't really flex it, so you have more joints. And every time you do a joint or a fitting, you have room for a break, yeah. So that's why PEX is just, I think, way better. Yeah, it's just a more, yep. Huh?
A lot cheaper.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, it probably is. I didn't price copper because I've done PEX in all my houses. Purple wire, which one?
Over there.
Oh, it's just electrical. There's different colors of electrical wire. Yeah, it's all Romex. Who wants to talk about wood? It's such an important topic. Who knows what those things are called up there? Glue, those are glue lams. So glue lams are basically very, very strong lumber. And when you glue different pieces of wood together, it makes it stronger than just a single piece. Just like with wire. Wire has as much as strands, it's stronger and won't break, like cables. Like building cables or zip line cables. They're not just one wire, it's strands. So it's a lot stronger than each individual piece. So those are glue lams. The second lumber we use is normal studs, which is Douglas fir, which is the pretty much whole house. These do warp. So before you do drywall, you always have to shim them or plane them to make sure the drywall doesn't have a wavy pattern. Laminated veneer. This is going to be our elevator shaft. This is another type of wood that doesn't warp, so it's more expensive, and they can make them long. So you don't want an elevator shaft warping because then the elevator might get stuck. So LVL, laminated veneer, is the third type of wood. And the fourth is just solid timber beams. This is a beam. It runs horizontal. So here, I'll show you a mistake. So this is where a guy hired, I was gone for a few hours, and he was gonna put in the electrical, and he cut through this beam. So we have to go back and do this and do some metal straps. So that's something, when you don't hire subcontractors, they do make mistakes, but overall, it's still a huge savings. Contractors come in, subs, and they let their guys loose, and they go to the other job, and they just leave. So I come back once in a while, so I'd rather just be here and supervise, but I happen to step away, and that's the result. So all my houses, I also build in rental suites. So in here, I'll show you this. Yeah, you can come if you want.
Oh, there's a separate door.
So this is my rental suite, rent for $1,500 a month, separate entrance, separate parking. They have no access to my house, no privacy problems, and they don't bug me at all. We're gonna do some nice soundproofing, and we'll get some $1,500 a month out of this puppy. So, a little kitchen over there, a stove, oven, kitchen sink, closet, so a little place for one person. And you have a strip view. So, if anyone wants to rent, I'm taking applications. July, we're moving in. No, this is going to be for amplifiers and stuff. Yeah. So, every house I build in one way or another to be able to have a tenant that doesn't access my space, but can get some revenue out of it. So, yep. Over here is the pantry. You don't have to look if you want. It's just a decent sized pantry. I always use commercial shelving. I never build in shelves. I use the stuff you buy, like the restaurants have. It's more stable, cheaper, and it lasts forever. Yeah. I use commercial shelving in here instead of building shelves, because shelves get scratched and stuff, and it's a hassle. I just buy these restaurant shelves and more commercial look, and they'll last, 20 years. So, okay, let's go upstairs. These sliders are about $7,500 for the slider. A lot of people like to do really tall sliders, but there's no reason for it. I mean, it's a lot more money, and if you have money to waste, I guess, but I don't, so I did 8 feet. Even if it's taller, what are you gonna look at, the roof? I mean, hey, it doesn't matter. These are economical. They're made out of vinyl instead of aluminum, so they're a lot cheaper. But for my purposes, I don't need ultra luxury, and they're fine. It's all about the view, not the material. Yeah, for the whole thing, yeah. The installation is another couple grand more.
What about the downstairs? Is that bigger?
It's about the same. This is a little bit shorter than that one, a little bit, yeah.
The height the same?
Yeah, they're still 8 foot, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about, there's a certain way you have to run all the guts. Who knows what goes first? Who knows what goes first as far as this stuff?
I'm guessing HVAC.
No, try again. Fire sprinklers always go first. You want the most straightest direct run. You don't want a bunch of curves when your house is on fire. So it's important. Fire sprinklers always go first.
They just recently put that in, right? That law like a couple years ago.
Henderson's been had it for a while. Yeah, it's been for a while.
Is that just PVC or is it a special pipe?
It's a different pipe that's more heat resistant. I don't know what it's called, but it is a stronger.
Expensive to do that?
Fire sprinklers, this house cost me $18,000.
That's expensive.
Yeah, well, Henderson requires it, so,
Is there a shut off just in case? Something?
yeah, he's done the shut off.
In Vegas, do you have to, is it, do you have to-
Clark County, I don't know if they have the same rule. They probably do nowadays. But Henderson does, yeah. Is it? That's what it is? Okay.
You doing this as a, you saw her, I think.
Owner builder, yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
you can do whatever you want.
Except I got fire sprinklers.
But you just need to pass your inspections and that's it.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's yours.
They give you a lot of leeway. The inspectors give you more leeway because you're an owner and they don't want to they want, you be happy as your owner. So usually they accommodate my schedule. I say I'm working this morning, this inspector will come in the afternoon. They've been really good. So,
What kind of discount do you get off insurance with the sprinklers?
I don't know, maybe it's 10%, maybe or so, approximately.
The loan actually.
Yeah, it's just a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit.
Required though now, right?
Well, yeah, but they still give you still get, it's not required all over the nation, so you still get a discount for having fire sprinklers, even though it's required, yeah. So what goes second after fire sprinklers? Wrong, ducting. You know why? Because it's big. Yeah, so this will be 2 units, one 5-ton upstairs, one 5-ton downstairs. So 2 units. Third thing is gas piping. Because it's solid, it really can't move. So third is gas.
You're not doing another unit for the tenant place?
No, hell no, they'll deal with my temperature.
Just curious.
No, hell no. They're not going to run my show.
Like a zone or anything, like a.
No, I'll tell them. I keep my house stays at 68 degrees.
Okay.
If you're great with that, fine. If not,
You ever thought mini splits in
Yes, splits are cheap.
zoning?
that's worked for me for years. I've had tenants for 15 years, all my houses, and they deal with it. If they want to turn the fan on, they can. I give them a ceiling fan for free. So, but if they can't deal with 68 degrees, then I'm sorry. I'm not trying to freeze or spend a fortune. Water piping's fourth. Flexible, can go around things. And again, I talked about PEX versus copper. Also, PEX good because it doesn't freeze. And it can expand if water freezes inside the pipes and won't burst. And corrosion resistant. Electrical is the next one because it can snake around stuff. It's wire. Last thing is what? Low voltage. That kind of Cat 5, Cat 6, surround sound, speakers, all that stuff goes last because you can go any place with that. Okay, so this is going to be my office, my girlfriend's office, and this is going to be our central closet. It's going to house all the fax machines if we still use them, security system, amplifiers, copy machines, all that stuff will be in the middle closet, storage. Only one guest bedroom because I don't like a lot of people coming and trying to stay with me, so just one.
Where's the master? Here?
Yeah, master over here, yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're doing glass rails, I got a bid of $20,000 for the glass railing by a local company, a subcontractor. I bought it myself through Home Depot. Actually, I emailed the supplier. He sold it to me, so everything installed was $5,000 compared to 20 grand for a subcontractor.
How much per panel?
I don't know, but it's $4,500 for all the glass, and we installed it for like $500. I think it's like $150 for the panel plus the hardware, and these aren't really necessary. These spigots alone will do the trick, but this gives a little extra support. And then decking, 4 coats. You could have done tile, but this is less expensive. And when you have decks, sometimes tile shifts and cracks. So this is, much better. So master's in here. So not a huge room. All we do is, sleep in here and other things, but mainly just sleep. So the bed's gonna go here, TV there. We got a good sized master bath and a good sized closet. Of course, we have dual toilets because nobody wants to share a toilet. I mean, we're not heathens,
Not barbarians.
not barbarians. I mean, we're not living in the 70s.
Gotta have 2 toilets.
This is Roger, my electrician. He is licensed, one of the few licensed guys I hire, but because I like him, he's been my friend for a long time, and he likes to help me. So, very good electrician if you ever need one. Right, Roger?
Yep.
How might it work for? Okay. I always pay on time, usually the same day sometimes, right?
We can come back and talk to you when he's
So I'm doing a wet room. I know wet rooms, who knows what those are? Wet rooms, they're kind of old fashioned, but never had one, so kind of wanted to do it. So I'm gonna do it anyway. So this whole thing, 2 shower heads and glass. Not sure if I want to do 8 foot or all the way to the ceiling, depends on the price. But like I said, not trying to be fancy, like a super luxury place. I'm trying to make it, efficient, nice, but not too crazy expensive. So 8 foot may be a lot cheaper. Although if you do 8 foot, you have to run a support across. 10 foot, you don't, if it goes to the ceiling. So that might offset.
So you gotta be a shower then?
Yeah, two shower heads.
Oh, okay.
2 shower heads in the bathtub, and all this will be tile.
Oh, that's one big room.
One big wet room, yeah.
Right, under it.
Over here's the closet. It's pretty decent size.
It's just one closet?
Yeah, just one closet. I don't have a lot of clothes. We're not super fancy people. We're more, our money goes to animals, to help animals. We don't spend a lot on ourselves. We have a motorhome. We travel with our dogs. We don't take a lot of trips because the dogs, we won't leave them alone. So the dogs go with us wherever we go. So let's talk about stucco since we're here. Who knows about stucco? So there's a 3-coat system, which is kind of old-fashioned. You do a scratch coat, basically goes over the wire, do a brown coat, and then you do a final coat. So I did what's called a 1-coat here. It's a new system, been around for a few years. So we do a combination scratch and brown, and then 1 color coat. But if you do that, you gotta do a lot of foam. So we did 1-inch foam around the whole house, and also wrap the whole house in OSB. OSB is like a plywood, but cheaper.
This is OSB, oriented strand board. It's made by using a bunch of small, thin slices of wood and pressing them together with glue and wax and heat.
Okay, so stucco, we did an Omega 1 coat with the foam. So basically you do OSB on the outside, then you do building paper, 2 layers of building paper for waterproof. Then you do the wire, then you do the cement on top of that, and you finish off.
But does the foam add insulation?
It does, yeah. Stucco really doesn't have much insulative value. Is that a word, insulative? Insulation value?
Have you heard of EVIS?
Yes, you have heard of that. It's pretty expensive.
It is expensive.
Yeah.
But
The whole stucco for the whole house, I had a crew come in. I didn't want to mess with that myself. 41,500 plus materials. So it ended up being about 65 with everything. Contractor would charge 90 to 100. So again, by doing it, and again, another thing, when you're getting bids from people, always make them separate the labor from the materials. Otherwise, that's the way they pad it and screw you. So always separate material. I want to see a separate bid. A lot of them won't do that because they can't pad it, but I always insist on that. So save you some money.
what's the process? When do you put the stucco on?
You can do it anytime. I do it sooner than later so I can dry it in, and I don't want rain pouring through. I mean, it's not going to hurt this stuff until you get into ducting, maybe. But we do the stucco soon. Windows stucco soon. I want to feel like I accomplished something. Don't want an empty house, and we can lock it up sooner. Was burglarized twice here. Somebody broke in and stole a big air compressor one time, and they stole some other miniature shit some other time. But now that we're all locked in, and nobody's broke in recently. Plus, I have a guy stay here once in a while, and an alarm system already in. Cameras, alarms, yeah, totally. Insulation. Well, see, when you're doing the walls, you use a paper-faced insulation so moisture doesn't come through. But on the ceiling, you just have insulation with no paper because they don't want moisture to get trapped. Make sense? So faced insulation on the walls and non-faced on the ceiling. So they call this a flat roof, but it's really not flat. It's always pitched a little bit. I like flat roofs because then you get roof deck space without having to build platforms, so I like it. This material is called TPO. You can't walk on this stuff really. It's not for traffic, so that's why we did a separate roof deck. This is just the room for the heating unit. We're putting the heating unit up here and the air conditioning unit right next to it. More efficient, goes right to the top floor. You don't got to run long copper lines. It's way better. Just go straight down and you got heating and air conditioning. Since you got a flat roof, you can do that. I mean, they do it on other roofs too, but it kind of looks hokey when you do it on a sloped roof. Looks kind of like from the 70s. So I may have a 4th of July party up here, you guys, if you want to come. It's amazing with fireworks.
The whole strip?
What's that?
The whole strip?
Oh yeah,
Not
totally.
just some of the strip.
Everything, yeah.
Gonna go all the way?
We're putting glass here. All this will be glass here. So this is really the only area you're supposed to walk on, technically. No, that's the room for the heating unit and the AC units next to it. So it's more efficient. You don't got to run long ducts and elevators over here.
How much is the elevator?
Elevators are 35 to 40 grand, so I'm not going to do that right away. I actually like the exercise of walking up steps, so we're going to do that when I'm like 80 or something. Inspections, they're actually kind of like they help you. They're so good. I mean, people don't like them because they always tell you what's wrong, but it's like getting almost like free, like a free contractor. They come and say, oh, this is wrong, you should do this, and they're very good with owner builders. Yeah. Well, I always start with, when I start with the city, I always do a Google review of 5 stars, and everybody helps me add their name and let them know I did. So they always use those for their reviews and stuff, so. Oh, a lot. There's everything. Through the whole house build, probably 25. Yeah, you got the dirt, you got the foundation, you got underground plumbing, you got framing, you got electrical, you got mechanical, so it's a ton of stuff. Okay, you want to go downstairs?
Does this thing like this, or what goes, does anything go over this?
This doesn't. I choose to do this, so it's really waterproof. We're going to paint this probably to match the brown, so it looks better. But no, this is waterproof as it is. On the edges where they go to the stucco, then you need to put the parapet caps, those caps, yeah. Documentation. When you're done with all the guts, take pictures of every wall so you have it. So for future problems, you can say, oh, I know it's in there. I didn't do that before and I regretted it. I'm doing it this time. So like an x-ray. Why many owner builder projects go over budget or fail? Underestimating the timeline. Always take twice as long as you think, maybe longer. Except for mine, I'm actually gonna be all in at 1 year from starting the grading to moving in. So it's actually a very fast timeline, even though I'm just using hourly guys, not subcontractors. So this went really smooth, mostly. Subcontractor and employee flakiness. That's definitely a thing. Inspection failures causing delays. Material price fluctuations, go way over budget. And when you try to take your construction draws, they want a ton of paperwork and that takes a while. So there's lots of reasons why you could fail. So you really got to have like 10% over what you thought or maybe more. Any questions about anything so far?
What did it cost,
What?
the whole project?
I will be all in for 1.1 million with the lot, and I got an appraisal at 1.45 million as completed. So I'll be over $300,000 profit by not pissing away money on a blood-sucking general contractor. The land was $250 for the land, and I spent $150 on all the civil improvements, civil meaning public. So all in for $400. But
Take it from the neighbor here?
But, yeah, on the other side, no, the sewer came 400 feet from the next intersection,
Oh, because
but the
you got-
power came on the other side of that neighbor. Yeah. But a lot like this with a strip view, if you bought it, I mean, you're gonna 700, 800 or more. So I'm 400,000 all in, I'm happy with it.
How big's the lot?
1 acre. Yeah. So we just had to, actually, one thing, we had to take the whole building pad down and recompact it. So every foot you have to compact it, water it, recompact it again. So
How thick is your foundation?
5 inches. So this is the pad's 5 inches. You also have footings around the whole edge. They go down about 2 feet and they're like a foot wide. They anchor it in the ground better, keep the foundation or keep the slab from sliding, and also more stability. So you have the slab, then you have footings around the whole edge.
Dig out the footings and fill them up and then put rebar?
Yeah, you dig your trenches, rebar, then you pour one continuous slab and the footings together, so it's one piece. Yep.
How did you decide on what you thought the budget was going to be
You know what?
How you prepare yourself?
Every house I do, do not have a clear path to the end. Every house I did. My thing is I can always sell it, or I'll figure it out somehow. And every time I have so far. So
You gotta have some sort of idea. Like,
I did. I figured it would cost about 200. I'll be about 200 a foot for just the construction, then plus the land and the sewer and stuff. So about that, maybe less than 200.
Budgeting, if you were somebody that was doing it themselves, you'd say budget.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably. You'll probably need a contractor. Now, you cannot get a construction loan. Well, you can. As an owner builder, the only people who do construction loans for owner builders is Clark County Credit Union, and they're phasing that out because of all the problems. As an owner builder, you don't need licenses. You can always do an owner builder, just like owning a gun. What?
Do one at a time, right?
Yeah, you have to live there. You cannot sell it without living there for a year. If you do, you're in trouble. You're not supposed to build spec homes as an owner builder, which I never have done. Always lived in it and kept it for several years. Because you don't want an owner builder building a house you're going to sell, because most of them aren't as good. So, supposedly contractors are supposed to be better, although a lot of them aren't. So, let's see. X-ray photos of all the walls. You have to sign an owner builder affidavit with the Nevada Contractors Board saying you promise you'll live there, and if you don't, you're screwed, and if you sell it within a certain amount of time, you're screwed. And you sign in a penalty of perjury, so it's not something you can really lie about. You don't want to lie in a perjury. So you really have to plan to live there. Once again, I'm not a general contractor. I got rid of that business years ago, so don't count on anything I say. I'm telling you what I have done or what I will do, not what you should do. That's more for a contractor to tell you. There are some contractors who will supervise the build, use their license, but let you do some of the work. So save you some money. So there are people that will do that. So you can save some money that way if you want to get some sweat equity.
and the license you need to do this is called
You don't need a license. Just just sign your owner builder affidavit with the state, and you can build it as an owner builder. Then you don't need to use all the subs. You can get away with using employees or your friends or whatever. And the first time I didn't. The first time in California, I didn't know what I was doing. I had to learn by doing. And they didn't have YouTube really 25 years ago, so I just kind of winged it. Yeah. You can. But I hired a foundation contractor. So I knew that the rest of the stuff you can always fix. Wood you can cut out. So, and you had the inspector to help you. So I kind of did it that way. So if you guys need a home loan, please use me. We use a lot of our money. We donate to animals. We don't keep a lot for ourselves. So if you need a home loan, I'm very good at that. I've been doing that for 25 years. I have 145 Google 5-star reviews, more than most companies, and that's just for me alone. So please use me. I do self-employed loans, bank statement, all the tough stuff that the big banks don't do.
Dan was my MLO.
I was his loan officer.
15 years ago, I did a fabulous job. Made it very seamless and very easy.
do you do commercial at all?
A little bit, not too much. I do private money. Who knows what DSCR is? DSCR is a great way to buy investment properties where you don't use personal income. You don't even have to have a job. Rental income, if it covers the payment, you're good to go. If it doesn't, you're still good to go with a higher rate. But it's the easy way to do it. Relies on credit score and the rental income.
I got one.
Last thing is, watch Dan builds a house on Tubi. I make $2 for each commercial. And I got my first $800 like 3 days ago. So Tubi's all of a sudden kicking ass. Everybody likes it.
I just watched it on YouTube.
You did? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. It told me a lot more about you than I knew
Yeah.
before. So.
Yeah. It's very funny, actually. I was watching it again. It's pretty funny.
Did you self-produce it?
I did, yeah. Hired a camera guy, and I do everything on my own. Hired a camera guy, and I did a lot of editing myself, and yep.
Dan, did you buy this on market or off market?
I bought this lot. I wrote a letter to the owner, and he responded back. Said, yeah, I'll sell it. I'm 85, and I'm not going to build, so. Bought it off market, and
It's the best way to buy a lot, right?
I think so.
I like at 245. That's a pretty good deal.
250, yeah, 250. I liked it, yeah.
How'd you find the lot?
I wrote the owner a letter.
How'd you find?
Oh, just driving by. I was looking at that lot on the corner. I was in escrow on that, but It would have taken too much money to run utilities way down there, so I wanted one closer. So I found this, and I wrote the owner a letter, and he called back, and
How much did he originally want?
that's about what he wanted. I gave him about what he wanted. It was fair. Yeah, $250. I was willing to pay that.
What was like the savings
You're left here.
without the general contract?
What's that?
What was the savings without the general?
300-ish grand. They eat up your equity. Yeah, that a general contractor would probably charge maybe 200. Yeah, but they take a percentage. They use their own subs. I'm sure they make a kickback. So I never use subs. Yeah, I negotiate very well with all the workers and subs. It's pretty good when I tie them in. First I say, okay, well, I'm like, okay, are you guys really fast? Oh, super fast. Okay, what do you want to make per hour? Oh, we want to make about 40. We come up with that. Okay, 40 times 1 week is what you said. So this is what you should make. Well, wait a second. We didn't account for it. What if we go over? So you got to loop them in with, are you fast? Oh yeah, we're great. We're great. Piecework is the biggest ripoff. It always goes towards them. Because if they don't finish on time or there are runs, they always want more money, even though they agreed to a certain price. And then they threaten to walk off the job. And so piecework is a ripoff. And always make them separate their labor and materials. If they won't do it, what are you hiding? That way you can actually get material bids from Home Depot or whatever, and then you kind of know how much labor they're making.
You know, what's funny on that is that I've seen some of these tips on Instagram where these contractors say, don't separate your time and labor.
Of course they do.
Labor and material.
Yeah.
So they do the exact opposite, right?
Wait, do you do hourly plus at a cap?
No, because I'm usually here. They're a little bit slower, and if they're doing quality work, I'm okay a few bucks more. Yeah, I don't cap it. You really can't cap hourly employees.
So you watch if they're not doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I always have a guy here.
Have them like sign some sort of contract to where they're on your job only and not leave and take another job?
You mean the hourly workers?
Timeline?
No, you can't do that. No, if they quit, they quit. You know, you just got to hire more. I always have a backup plan. But again, don't do piecework. I always hire handymen that can do everything because I know what I'm looking for. So if you hire a handyman, they'll stick with you from plumbing all the way till the end.
I'll see you later, buddy. Thank you very much.
We want to get a picture of everybody. You don't want to be in the picture?
I don't care.
Let's do a picture. Can you take one now? Okay.